I'm pretty sure this is something they would wear in the show, right? I'm positive. The question is, did we really need this show? After the success of The Terminalist and how good it was, did we really need to know how Ben turned against James? Let's find out.
Fuck the brakes.
In all honesty, this felt like a Call of Duty campaign at times. You're just seeing a bunch of action and then the story progresses and then some more characters come in. At a certain point, you're like, what the fuck is going on? I guess I've just played way too many Call of Duty games and I was like, let's make people go bye-bye, turn it off most of the time and not really pay attention to the story. And that's just how it goes sometimes. The first episode starts off with a prisoner exchange not going to plan with the pew-pew and explosions. And all I could think of was, yeah, it's very much like Call of Duty. And then I expected the mission to go to shit. It just has to happen. I will say the muzzle flashes in here look really good. Not sure if they use blanks or anything. And I do think the color grading is a lot better than the Terminalist. It doesn't really have that ultra blue look. I'm honestly kind of surprised there's no fruitcake in here. And it's coming from Amazon, if you know what I mean. Like these homies did the Rings of Power. Nah, that ain't for me. That's a bunch of fruitcakeness. One thing my brother pointed out as we were watching this show is, of all the songs they could have used, they used Hell's Bells. Aren't there like a bajillion songs that they could have used? Like at least something a little bit new? They just had to pick Hell's Bells? Like, I get it, it does fit the scene overall, but why not give something we haven't heard or haven't heard in a while? I think that would have been a nice touch. We get to see James Reese, played by Chris Pratt, show up.
Foot's dick.
And you just know he wasn't gonna be in here long, considering this was how Ben went down that dark path with the good old CIA. I will say the pacing to the show got a little bit slow after Duran got part of his foot amputated, I guess. And then it's just some more chatting and I guess character development, but the pacing was just a little bit too slow for my liking. And then we got Denawi who shows up to Duran's house and you just know he's cooking up something. Then the SEALs are like,
let's go hunting.
For this Denawi guy going through an ISIS checkpoint, and I at least like the tension they brought to this moment, because you never know when you gotta make people go bye-bye, turn it off. Duran comes back to the base with a new foot while the SEALs hunt. Yeah, and you just knew he was up to no good. And you know what? It's always hard to say who copies who, but damn, did this ever feel like a Call of Duty campaign, minus the stupid skins and all the skill-based matchmaking! I thought the heading back to the base and topping people was absolutely great. I can see Activision stealing them ideas for sure. Too bad Duran made people go bye-bye, turn it off. Turns out Duran's kids went missing and his wife got the old bye-bye, turn it off. Now the SEALs are after this Jabori guy who was the prisoner at the beginning, and they're looking for this Denawi guy, and they became the Mocha ISIS bros. Rafe and Ben get shut down to do an op on the Mocha Bros, but it turns out Jabori dude is protected by the good old CIA. And all I was thinking was, damn, this homie Rafe guy should be in Call of Duty.
I need you to stop.
Homie's voice is fantastic. The trio get together and they plan to do a mission to burn that Mocha boy. The CIA boys find out that they're up to no good and hitting Jabori. This whole section was really great. At least they upped the pacing to make the episode more interesting instead of just doing absolutely nothing. And then Ben makes Jabori go bye-bye, turn it off! And Ben Boy just absolutely lost it. And then James comes up with a plan to say it was not a bye-bye, turn it off intentional moment. To be honest, I'd like to know a little more as to why Ben is just kind of cuckoo in a way. Maybe we'll find out later. Episode 2. They come up with a plan to cover each other. Rafe was like, I got you, Ben. You my number one homie, bro. Isn't that what brothers are for? Then the CIA wants a few to burn for the SEALs' actions. And kind of makes sense, shows authority in a way, but at the end of the day, he had to do what he had to do. They both set off into the sunset saying bye-bye to Chris Pratt for possibly the rest of the season. They both get recruited into the CIA because they gotta do something with their damn time. And Baldy Boy definitely just cooking up something. Always. They're always cooking up something. Anybody in like authority or power positions, they're always cooking up something. And it's always up to no good. He wants them to kill Denawi and he just knew they would accept it. Although Chiseled Rafe here wasn't so sure, but Ben Boy was like, I'm all in. Baldy Boy just manipulating the shit out of Rafe and he just knew he had to accept it. He was gonna have to do it regardless. He had to do something something with his time. He didn't want to live a civilian life. And you know what? You could just be making YouTube videos, bro. They're kind of fun. I have fun. I have lots of fun. That's why I'm the official asshole here. When they head to Vienna, this again just felt like Call of Duty. You know what? It might as well just be called Call of Duty Terminal List. They plan to get into this club and take Denawi out. I was like, damn, at least it's some James Bond ass shit. I'm glad Baldy Boy at least gives these homies an audition to show off their damn skills. From here on out, it's the plan to take out this Mocha dude. So far, I'd say this was the most interesting episode with the best pacing. And it just keeps everything so interesting. And that's what I actually really loved about it. They're just more of a focus episode instead of an episode trying to set up everything and do different things like the first episode. And we got the bottle girl who's an asset of theirs, and she's gonna give Mocha Boy a sedative, and he's like, nah girl, I don't do liquids. You know, at least Denawi is a smart guy and he just knows not to drink stuff from strangers or just take any drink, because he might go, bye-bye, turn it off. Denawi Boy makes Bottle Girl make her drink the damn water, and then she goes all tipsy. Then Ben's cover gets blown after he helps Bottle Girl and make her throw up whatever the hell she put in her damn drink. In all honesty, the scene gave me John Wick vibes, and who knows, maybe they were just inspired by the Boogeyman. And I don't know what it is about silencers, I'm just a big fan of them. They just look way too good on a gun. Something about it, the barrel and then the silencer at the end, it's just like, damn, this shit looks cool. I want one. This scene was very intense, it was paced very well, but you just knew Ben and Rafe would live, so there definitely wasn't a whole lot of stakes in all honesty. And then Denawi goes, bye-bye, turn it off, and then they take the phone and leave. Now this is how you end a show with a Metallica song. Instead of what I was watching here, Alien Earth, which is absolute trash, and it tries to be badass, but it's not. This is more badass. Way more badass than Alien Earth. Because that shit is trash, just so you know. Episode 3! They started this one off less serious, with a little more friendly competition between Ben and Rafe. Then we head to this Iranian nuclear stability conference, or wherever the shit it is. These two mochas are like, clearly up to no good. And damn, is there a lot of mochas in here? I was like, damn, we all brothers. And then we got the team coming together, and I was like, damn, is this Call of Duty again? They should just make this a Call of Duty campaign at this point. You might as well just do it, Activision. Just get on it. Might as well just copy this scene by scene. You might as well just do it. It's better than whatever the hell they're doing now. And then of course Baldy Bro brought in that other CIA dude, and he just needed a job badly. After decrypting Denawi's phone, they're hitting up Professor Boy. Since they don't know who Denawi looks like, of course they're just gonna choose Mo to be him, cause he's the most mocha out of all of them. My other gripe about the show is the very masculine chick, and then Ben Boy here just wants to slip it in, you know? I don't think it really needed it. You're working on a bike, awesome I guess, and it doesn't really go anywhere. Denawi's phone gets a text and they have to find out who this person is so that their operation doesn't go to shit. They go to meet this person and turns out it's some chick. And then the pacing issues started to happen again. Sure, it's great to have character development between Rafe and the CIA guy, but it just slows things down way too much. Or maybe it was just like the editing or something. And then we get a scene with Ben and this masculine chick. Sure, it's character development, but doesn't really do anything. It just slows down the entire operation. And then you find out she's a single mom, and I was like, that's a no-go zone, my guy. That's a mission you want to bail on. But I think the scene was okay. It really doesn't do much, and you obviously know these two are probably just gonna bang like rabbits eventually. You could honestly probably skip these scenes and not much would change between the characters. Ben follows Professor Dude to a nuclear institution. Then we got Mo here waiting on this chick to take her out with a silencer, and I just loved it. So cool. And it turns out she's Denawi's daughter, and he almost makes her go bye-bye, turn it off, but he couldn't do it. He just threatened her and said, don't ever talk about your dad ever again, and go bye-bye, turn it off somewhere else. They plan to meet with Professor Boy to see what he's cooking, and Tech Girl finds out that Mo didn't make the chick go bye-bye, turn it off. This scene was more about Mo's character development, And honestly, it was really solid because he's much more of an interesting character. But personally, I'd rather see the focus more on Ben instead of these other characters. And it's something the Terminalist did really well. It created all those like twists and turns, and it just kept the audience really engaged. I do think that's what this series lacks quite a bit in, but it's still interesting regardless. We go back to Ben, and it turns out his girl is leaving him. Of course she is, bro. She ain't yours, it's just your turn. Then he just busts the shit out of the phone, and Baldy Boy was like,
It's government property, Chief.
and he's just here cracking jokes. Then Fake Denawi meets up with Professor Boy, and turns out he's making a payment on a proof of concept for a nuclear bomb Iran is building. Some kind of synthetic bearings for high-speed gas centrifuges. The team realizes someone is onto them, and Homie pays and dips out. A third party shows up tailing Mo Boy, and I thought the scene was great. It was very tense, and it showed what was gonna happen to Mo. Was he gonna go bye-bye, turn it off, or was he not? Turns out he gets saved by a CIA dude in a nick of time. Then Afro Dude follows one of the third party people and gets a bye-bye, turn it off. Ben gets really pissed that Afro Dude went bye-bye, turn it off, and he follows him onto the subway, and then he just walks up to him and he's like, yo, I'm just gonna pop you so hard in the ass. And then Ben just sits down and he's just like enjoying his time. He looks at this girl and just smiles, and then he's like, you know what? F it. And then he just whips out his gun and he says, bye-bye, turn it off for good, like John Wick. And no fucks were given. And I absolutely loved it. It was just so badass. In every way. I'm like, damn, this guy just went pop, 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 pop. Overall, I think the first episode was solid, but it didn't give an awesome hook or anything to keep you really interested in the show. It was just, hi, my name's Ben, and this is my story before I went bye-bye, turn it off in the Terminalist. I do think the Terminalist did a much better job of keeping you hooked into James' story than I would say this story. The second episode was much better. It had very good pacing, and it just kept you engaged the entire episode. That's what it needed. Just more precision and more focus. And it turned out to be one of the best episodes of all three of them, in my opinion anyway. The third episode was sort of a slog in a way, introducing more characters that you don't really care about a whole lot. So far, it's a solid start, and it's one of the better shows this year. At least there ain't no fruitcaking around. You gotta let me know which episode you thought was the best, or if this show is better than The Terminalist, or is it not? You see Ben here at the end of this episode? I need you to pull the trigger with your finger and or mouse to watch more of my fun reviews.